Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Swayze Show. And I'm your host, Swayze Sway. It's January the 18th, 2021. And it's Martin Luther King Jr. Day in America and hopefully all over the world. Such a phenomenon hero whose legacy is celebrated every day. We have an amazing guest with us again today. He's an outreach coordinator. He's a chairman of the board of commissions. He's a political organizer and a field rep registering people to vote. The smart brother has also been a teaching assistant. He's a Global Goodwill Ambassador for the human rights. And he's a political lobbyist of the James E. Clyburn Fellowship Program. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Sandino Moses.
Thank you, Mr. Rodney. I appreciate that outstanding introduction. Well, first and foremost, I want to say that it's an honor to be on your podcast on this important day. Some may say one of the most important holidays of the year, MLK Day, and what the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King represents to us. You know, for example, let's just be real. He was a man that was way ahead of his time. He was a man that seen the glory. The glory got introduced to him. He was charged to save, African Americans, but he was charged to merge each and every individual in different ethnicities, ethnic groups. Absolutely. And he wanted us to come together and come together, stand together, live together, and love together.
Absolutely. You know, we are just 2 days away from inauguration. However, the media has put out a lot of fear out there based on the current president's base being upset about the election results. And I guess for 4 years of trying to make America great again, those 4 years was not enough.
Yes, sir. Here's the thing. You always have in life. You always have different spectrums. You have tall people, you have short people, you have African American people, you have Caucasian people, you have Latino descent people, you have Asian people. So here's the thing: with this whole situation that's going on with white supremacists, aka Proud Boys, and some people that working behind the scenes that we don't know about. This is all about certain individuals and pushing their initiative, and their initiative is for them to finish first and for other races to finish last. We've seen this before, but not on a big scale like this as far as social media is concerned. We have the ability to see everything that transpires right before our eyes on TV and on our phones. But as long as you have people sitting at the table in Congress, sitting at the table locally on a local level, state level, and national level, white supremacists, white ring groups, they would not prevail. They would not prevail because you got to fight for what you believe in, and I think Americans going to come together and put it all together. Behind the leadership of newly elected President Joe Biden and first African American female Vice President Kamala Harris.
Absolutely, indeed. And what I believe Trump base, what they need to understand is that it's like a quote from Friday, where you're gonna win some and you're gonna lose some, but you'll live to see another day, and that's the beauty of it. And that pretty much has been the saga of our story for a very long time.
Exactly. And you know how the story goes. Mr. Starks, Rome wasn't built in a day. The world wasn't built in one day. God didn't build, He created the world in one day. It's all about sustaining your position for now in the long haul. And that's why I feel that at the end of the day, here in the Low Country and across America, we should always start preparing ourselves for the future. We need to start introducing younger people into politics, younger people in the local politics, and putting them in social groups like 100 Black Men and the Boer Affair and the Knights of Pythagoras with the Masonic Temple. We need to start early, and we need to start training our youth early so they can fight for us in the future.
Absolutely. With such an amazing profile that you have, how's everything going with you? I know you got a pretty busy schedule, and if you don't mind, please, I guess emphasize a little bit more about your background.
Well, I appreciate that, Mr. Starks. I politically was awakened in 2016 after Donald Trump won the presidency, and I immediately joined a political organization formed by Michelle and Barack Obama in 2012, and the name of the organization is OFA, Organizing for Action. And once I graduated from that political boot camp, I got trained in 2018, and I went to Washington, D.C., and was in another political program under presidential candidate Elizabeth Warren, Progressive Change Candidate Committee. And I graduated from that boot camp in 2017. In 2018, I entered the James E. Clyburn Fellowship Program and graduated in 2019. And once I finished that, graduated with that, I was elected by Charleston County Council as a board member, a board commission member with the Charleston County Housing and Redevelopment Authority Board. And 2020, I also was a field organizer with Progressive Turnout Project, and I worked the presidential election, which it was a great win by President Joe Biden. And what I did with that position, we worked the states of Georgia and Florida, and we was trying to make sure we do our part to turn Georgia and Florida back blue. And once I finished that position with Progressive Turnout Project, I got hired with Father to Father Inc. Here in North Charleston, where Father to Father Inc. It's a program that helps men learn how to build relationships.
Absolutely.
Fatherhood program, we assist men in overcoming obstacles that keep them from being the fathers their children need for them to be in their lives.
Absolutely.
And in that program, we focus on a few. We have a few focal points. We focus on parenting and co-parenting, healthy relationships, job readiness and employment. We help them with economic stability and, most importantly, personal development to help them now, but also the development to help them in the future. And at the end of the day, Rodney, we want to make sure these young men be the best fathers they can be for their children. Now, the Father to Father Inc. in North Charleston, we're responsible for serving and looking for participants in the Charleston County and Dorchester County. And our Father to Father Inc. office in Berkeley County obviously covers Berkeley County. And if anyone has a problem with child support, anybody having problems with visitation, anybody having problems with losing your license because you're not paying your child support, anybody has any problems with you're paying your child support but you can't see your kids, make sure you get in contact with Father to Father Inc. here in North Charleston. Our phone number is 843-744-2126. Also, you can look us up online at father365.com, or either you can look us up at fatherfatherinc.org. I'm the outreach coordinator here in the North Charleston area, in the North Charleston area office. And our interim executive director, his name is Mr. Ragland, and he is our interim executive director here in North Charleston. And we also help women that the state has taken their kids from them. We help them with child support as well.
Absolutely.
So when you talk about grassroots work, when you talk about getting in the trenches, when you're talking about rolling your sleeves back, when you're in a situation where you're helping young men, majority African American men, and limitedly some women and other ethnic groups as well. We're talking about when you're strengthening fathers. We believe fathers are the foundation of families.
Mm-hmm.
So once you strengthen the father in the home, it may take some time, but during a period of 5 to 10 years, you're going to see a lot of negative numbers drop. You're going to see numbers like teen pregnancy drop. You're going to see numbers like expulsions out of school drop. You're going to see crime with kids with the ages of 13 and 25. You're going to see those numbers drop because what you're doing is you're keeping the fathers in the home. You're keeping the fathers as the leader of the family, and therefore these young people will not have to revert to stealing and robbing and turning to gangs and having teen pregnancy because the fathers are still in their lives.
Absolutely.
So this is a long process, but this is what I'm all about. I'm all about grassroots work, helping. Where the problem is, I want to be a part of the solution, and I don't want to be a part of the problem.
Yes,
and
sir.
that's what Father to Father Inc. do.
Absolutely, absolutely. I had a chance to witness and also participate in a recent food drive that you had. And my question to you is, how important is it to get involved with your community as a political advocate?
I'm glad you asked that question, Rhonda, because the thing is, politicians get a lot of politicians get bad rap. When you hear someone say you're a politician, you a slickster, or you practice on not telling the truth and so on and so forth. But here's the thing: it's so important to be involved in your community because in 2021, it's important that we have a new type of politician. We need a politician that's never going to forget where he came from, number one. Number two, we need a type of politician and a community organizer that's never going to forget grassroots work in the community. Okay? You follow me?
Absolutely.
So what I'm saying, in other words, what I'm saying is when we win these positions and get elected, we can never forget about canvassing, knocking on doors, calling people on the phone, sending them emails, texting your fellow voters, showing up virtually at church events, letting them know that even though I thank you for helping me win an election, we never need to forget again about canvassing, about letting them know I'm here for you. I'm just a phone call away. I'm ready to get back anytime you need me, no matter what time it is. You call me and I will show up. And when you do that, that's building relationships. That's building relationships with their kids. And that's building a relationship with their kids' kids. By staying active in the community, you are actually building relationships with sometimes 2 and 3 different generations to come.
Absolutely. So what I want to know is, how important is Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy to you?
Martin Luther King's legacy is so important to me. For example, me and you wouldn't even be on this podcast if it wasn't for Martin Luther King. With freedom of speech, freedom of airways. You follow me? A long time ago, we couldn't do this. We couldn't be on a national airway stage like this.
Mm-hmm.
He opened the door for African Americans. He opened the door for Latinos, everybody of color. He opened the doors for people like that, and he even also opened up some doors for Caucasians as well, America. And the door that he opened up was, let's everybody sit down at the table and let's talk about the pressing issues that we need to talk about. He opened that door to sit down. The first African American brother you saw to sit down in Washington, D.C. when he helped sign the African American bill with Lyndon B. Johnson to help everybody get welfare, help for the state and the state to help you with the things that you need to survive. Martin Luther King was our champion. I mean, he was our champion. I like to look at him. Martin Luther King did what Jesus did. He fought for justice and he died for justice. And we saw him do that. I mean, he died for justice with the American Civil Rights Act.
Absolutely.
The Civil Rights Bill. I mean, he died for that. And just like Jesus died for us in our sins. So Martin Luther King he's most definitely on my Mount Rushmore of African Americans that gave back to the world.
Absolutely. I like to speak on last year and how I think last year was a critical year for Black people in America. We lost Breonna Taylor in March. We lost George Floyd in May. We lost Rayshon Brooks in Atlanta. We lost Dejon Kizzy in August. We lost Walter Wallace Jr. We lost Jonathan Price. We lost Casey Godson and Andre Hill, both in December. If I left anybody out, I do apologize because there's so many that has died because of police brutality in America. Don't get me wrong. I think it's good cops and bad cops out there. But when you start abusing your powers, I think it becomes a toxic addiction and eventually leading up to things like this. I think a lot of departments need to do a clean sweep. So my question to you is, what's your opinion on that?
And here's the thing, Ron, that's a real touchy subject to Americans because, you do have, you got good cops and you got bad cops. You have good politicians. You have bad politicians. You got good reverends and you got bad reverends. You got good parents and you got bad parents. So earlier, what I talked about is always two sides of the spectrum. When you talk about policemen in the United States of America, that is the highest level of that's one of the highest levels of responsibility that you would put on someone that go to work every day. Okay, you got policemen that is a lot of times people lives are in their hands. Okay, they when we have problems, somebody breaking our house, we call the police. Okay, when someone steal our car or you see somebody do something wrong, you get on the phone, you call the police. So either way you put it in America, at some point in time, we are going to have to rely on the policemen to help us and give them all the respect due that they're going to uphold their oath to serve the people. So first things first, all the good cops, all the good policemen. I'd like to thank you all for being good policemen and doing your job at a high level. However, now we need to talk about on the other side of the spectrum, in which I was referring to earlier in our conversation, the other side of the spectrum, the dark side of the spectrum. And the dark side of the spectrum is, as much as we don't want to talk about it, it very much so could be possible. Mm-hmm. And I heard this on CNN last night on the Don Lemon show, that this situation with the insurrection at Capitol Hill, mm-hmm. after the investigations is over with, we may find out that could possibly policemen all over America could be possibly infiltrated by white supremacists.
Oh wow!
So when you look at the history of what happened, what's going on with all these murders, mm-hmm. you know, of brothers and sisters in America, when you do a background check and really double down and look at each and every one of those policemen, we may very much well find out that some way or somehow they have been tied to white supremacists in America.
Oh, wow, okay.
This whole process, you know, African Americans being killed, I believe it's on a bigger scale, bigger plan by a higher power above to really get down and reveal really where the problems are in America.
Absolutely. So, do you believe that officers with any affiliation of white power should be removed from power?
Yes, sir, and that's a tough job that the police chiefs across America are charged with after these senseless murders and attack and the attack on Capitol Hill. Mm-hmm. You know, these police chiefs today in 2021, they are charged with breaking down, taking the time out, they should be hiring psychologists, mm-hmm. trained psychologists, and they should have a immediate evaluation of every cop in their precincts. And I know that takes a lot of time. And I know by me, I'm just making this call here in Charleston, South Carolina. Some may say it's easier said than done. Mm-hmm. But with that being said, we have to start making wrongs right. And a lot of times when you make wrongs right, it's a long process. It's a long, lengthy process. And we must get psychological evaluations of all these policemen across America.
Absolutely. With that being said, safety does take time, and evaluation takes time because, the biggest thing is to fix errors and get it right, and which they haven't had it right for forever. I can't tell you the exact amount of time it's been like this since the beginning. But safety takes time, and it takes time to get it right. But as long as they get it right, it is all what matters. Can we do a big shout out to Black Lives Matter for marching all last year and the young folks who participated? Those guys are my heroes of last year, and it took a lot of guts and a lot of courage to do what they did. But look at us now. You guys put pressure on America and caused America to make sudden changes.
Well, in every movement, any social movement in the United States of America, going all the way back to 1800.
Okay.
You have to have people that march. Mm-hmm. You have to have people that have public gatherings and public showings. You have to have protesters. You have to have marches. You have to have people that working as politicians. You have to have community organizers. You have to have everybody on all spectrums. Black Lives Matter, their position, they want to get out, and they get out in the community, and they march, and they raise awareness.
Exactly.
You know what? We should love them for that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's nothing wrong with using the freedom of speech and the freedom of assembly, and to go out and march and let everybody know that, hey, look, this is what we believe in. We need to raise awareness. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, and on that same line, if you go one tier two, then you need to have community organizers that organizes the march.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You got tier 3, tier 2, and then you got tier 1 is the elected officials.
Okay.
That's working with the Black Lives Matter movement. You know? So everybody has a job that they have to do. Everybody has a job they have to do. Now, when you talk about rioting and you're talking about burning down, you know, a city because of an issue that everybody has a problem with, you know, I don't condone violence and rioting. However, Martin Luther King talked about rioters.
Okay.
And Martin Luther King said the rioters are the voices that are not being heard.
Mm.
They're the voices that are not being heard, just like what Martin Luther King stated. So we need our voices to be heard. We need to hear everybody's voice. And then I don't think a lot of riots will continue if voices are being heard on a local, state, and a national level.
Absolutely. A phrase that I believe in from a certain standpoint is if you can't beat them, you might as well join them. For me, I believe that if we get more of us involved with politics and positions of power, then we have a better chance of making laws and policies that are suitable for diverse communities and minorities. So what is your opinion on more Black people and people of minority communities joining the police force, politics, and how soon should that start?
I'm a firm advocate of people of color joining the police force and joining politics, because when you sitting at the negotiating table, when you sitting at the table of life, that you hear that people are ready to hear voices that from people that represent the community. You gotta, and again, you gotta have people from the community. You gotta have people from grassroots. You gotta have people who live in housing. You gotta have people that live in Section 8 at the boardroom table or on city council. You gotta have people that mother and father may have been involved in domestic violence. You have to have all different sectors of the community sitting at the table and speaking for the community. I think it's unfair when you have a city council, board members, house reps, state reps, senators, U.S. representatives, and you have people that representing the people in the community, but don't know and don't have a connection to the people in the community. This is why I'm doing the things that I'm doing, because I come from the community. I know the community. I live, I'm not, rich or anything, so I'm middle class. So I know the middle class. I've be around the middle class and quote unquote the lower class. And also I've been around and be around currently, the upper class. So you got to have somebody that has a wide spectrum of really what's going on when you talk about making resolutions and when you're talking about creating deals and resolutions and new policies. You gotta have somebody that comes from the community, that has a connection with the community, and someone that can get in contact with the community to find out current issues that's going on, so they can bring it back to the table and say, this is what's going on here in the street. This is what's going on in the community section 8. This is what's going on in middle class rural Charleston, South Carolina. You got to have somebody that's connected and know how to build relationships. And if you don't have that, it's always going to be unfair. rules are always going to be made unfairly. Policies are always going to be made unfairly. And that, we don't want to digress in the past. We want to progress into the now and the future.
Absolutely, absolutely. One thing for certain is that you are a voting rights activist. And before I heard of Miss Stacey Abrams, I've heard of Sandino Moses. How important is it for minorities to understand that their vote really do count?
It's very important. And me and some of my political peers, we call, whenever someone says these words, my vote doesn't matter, I look at that as the enemy has infiltrated their mind, body, and soul.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you follow me? We got voting. If you don't have a mouth, if you don't have a vocal cord, you don't have vocal cords.
Mm-hmm.
Your voice still can be heard. Mashing the button, showing up to the poll, mashing the button, and voting. Even if you can't talk anymore, you lose the ability to talk. You still can go to the voting polls and mash that button and let everybody know how you really feel and who you want to represent you in your community on a local, state, and national level.
Absolutely.
So for, the youth ages between 18 and 25 that walk around here each day and say, man, my vote don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Every day they say that. Every time you hear someone say that, that always gives me, that recharges me, that remotivates me, that I'm rededicated, motivated, and rejuvenated to say that we got more work to do. I won't be satisfied until each and every one of our youth understands the importance of voting, and we need to get that voting class between 18 and 25. We need to get that to 100%.
Yes, sir. This past year, I seen people that never voted before actually vote this year. And one of the main reasons is because they was told that they could not vote. And just to find out they actually could vote. So could you also explain what voter suppression is all about?
Yeah. First of all, you can use oppression and use it in so many different arenas. You have oppression as far as driving a car in the community. You have oppression as far as borrowing money in the bank system. You have oppression as far as in education wise.
Mm-hmm.
You have oppression in living. Some people can't live where they want to live in the United States of America. So you have all kind of different oppressions all over America in every different spectrum. But when you talk about voter oppression, you're talking about something as simple as a state government saying, listen, in the past, you could go to the registration and show your driver's license, and you can automatically vote. Something as simple as, no, we don't want you to show your driver's license no more. What we want to do, we want you to go down and we want you to get a voter registration card with your picture ID on the voter registration card. Something as simple as that. Something as simple as mysterious computer glitches at the voting polls. Or something as simple as when someone requests for absentee vote and requests that in the mail, and you receive your absentee information in the mail a day after the election is over.
Oh wow, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. You have so many different types of tactics of voter oppression, but one type of voter oppression that they got going on, and they don't have to do anything about it. Let the enemy convince us again that our vote doesn't matter. That's the biggest oppression against our own self. your vote doesn't matter. I went right back. I had to go right back to that, Rodney, because we got to show up and vote, and we got to believe that our vote really matters. Look what happened in Georgia in the Senate race.
Absolutely.
Look what happened. Look what happened in the presidential election. Our vote do matter. Our vote does matter, and we can't let the enemy and hoodwink us in a way that we don't think our vote matters.
Absolutely. So the whole voting aspect, it should start in the local election and work its way up. Is that correct?
Yes, that's 100% correct.
Yeah, 'cause I know at one point I was that guy who didn't think that local elections really matter, but it absolutely do. And so I've been there, done that, and I totally understand now, especially with the information and the announcement that's out there now. I think more information is out there now to where we can really learn from our previous mistakes and mistakes that people that we knew prior to us have made. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a Swayze news break. Let's talk about what's happening in the world right now. This really might be a little controversial. It said, according to the Washington Post, how the Proud Boys and other fringe groups found refuge on a Christian fundraising website. It says the Proud Boys and other fringe groups found refuge on a Christian website, which raised over $247,000. And it's saying that the expenses has been claimed to be related to the January 6th rally on DC and other things pertaining to the Proud Boys. So do you think they're using this for like a disguise or whatnot? Do they think that they're doing the right thing, as a Christian in America? I mean, and their definition of what it's like,
Yeah, Rodney, and I go back again. I have to go back to the first part of our conversation we had today about the different spectrums. Okay, you got good Christians and you got bad Christians. Okay, and if you really look at the foundation of Christianity, the foundation of Christianity, it stands on one thing: love.
Okay.
Love. I say it one more time. Love. And if someone wants to read Bible scriptures and say we doing this for Jesus and we doing this for the love of Christ, and then they go out and try to shoot people and oppress people and kill people and find all kind of conventional ways and different ways the whole race is back, not love them but hurt them. We're talking about everything that's the opposite of love that they do and stand for. Then you have to question, who are they really serving?
Okay.
Because the God I know, he doesn't talk about oppression. He doesn't talk about killing. He doesn't talk about stealing, murdering, robbing. He doesn't talk about I hate this group and I hate this group of people. He talks about love, and that's the foundation of it. So whenever I hear those type of things, I look at it, smirk and laugh and say, you know what, they blind and they really can't see really what they're doing.
With that being said, it's about that time. Once again, I do appreciate you for stopping by and chat with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. It's a Sandino Moses, man. Hey, man. We, the community, appreciate you once again, man. And thank you. Thank you again.
I'm tired of marching. Tired of marching for something that should have been mine at first. I don't mind saying to you tonight. I don't mind saying to you tonight that I'm tired of the tension surrounding our days. I don't mind saying to you tonight that I'm tired of living every day under the threat of death. I have no martyr complex. I want to live as long as anybody in this building tonight, and sometimes I begin to doubt whether I'm going to make it through. I must confess I'm tired.